Hello. This week's topic is state constitutions. You'll be reading the chapter on that topic and then answering a question related to it. I just wanted to give you a little background about how state constitutions are amended. The typical amendment process in most states is that the citizens get a chance to weigh in on the amendment. An amendment to a state constitution is similar in many ways to an amendment to the U.S. Constitution in that the amendment is changing the fundamental governing document of the state. A key difference, however, is that at the federal level, citizens do not get a chance to weigh in on amendments. All amendments at the federal level go through Congress and then go down to the states for approval. But at the state level, state constitutions generally require that citizens approve the amendment in an election. That is certainly the case here in Michigan. What happens here is that those who are interested in proposing an amendment to the state constitution, the Michigan Constitution, will circulate a petition in the state, get a certain number of signatures on that petition, and if they get enough valid signatures, the state has to put that issue before the voters to vote on. And then if at the next election, if a majority of the voters approve the proposed amendment, it is then added to the state constitution. That is the most common way in which amendments are added here in Michigan. There are some recent examples in the last 10 to 15 years of amendments that have been added here in Michigan include in 2004, there was an amendment that prohibited same-sex marriage. I should mention that just 2 years ago, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that same-sex marriage is protected by the U.S. Constitution, the Equal Protection Clause in the 14th Amendment, and therefore the amendment here in Michigan that prohibited gay and lesbian couples from being married is no longer valid because the U.S. Constitution always takes precedence over anything at the state and local level. So even though voters did approve that ban on same-sex marriage here in 2004, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that such bans, and other states had similar bans, were a violation of equal rights. A couple of other examples of amendments to the state constitution here in Michigan. In 2006, voters approved an amendment that prohibits the use of affirmative action by public institutions in the state of Michigan. And a number of years ago, voters approved an amendment that limits the number of terms that governors and state legislators can serve in Lansing. So those are all examples of amendments that have been approved here in Michigan by the voters. But again, that is the process that's used here at the state level. There's also the possibility of a constitutional convention. Every 16 years under the Michigan Constitution, voters are asked as to whether they would like to have a convention. But each time that issue has gone before the voters since 1964, when our current Constitution went into effect, the voters have said no to the Constitutional Convention. But the Constitutional Convention is a possibility, but the next time we'll have a chance to decide whether to have one will be sometime in the 2020s, so it's a number of years off yet. So in any event, just wanted to give you a little background. If you have any questions about state constitutions or about how they're amended, please email me, or please also read through the online lecture that I provided this week. Have a great week. Thank you.